When I was young, I loved playing sports and have many memories of those days, but not all of them were pleasant. I remember one day after my football team lost a tough game, I came home feeling discouraged. My mother was there. She listened to my sad story. She taught her children to trust in themselves and each other, not blame others for their misfortunes, and to give their best effort in everything they attempted. When we fell down, she expected us to pick ourselves up and get going again. So the advice that my mother gave me then wasn't altogether unexpected. It stayed with me all the rest of my life. Joseph, she said, come what may and love it. I have often reflected on that counsel. I think she meant that every day has peaks and shadows, and times when it seems that the birds don't sing and bells don't ring. In spite of discouragement and adversity, those who are happiest seem to have a way of learning from difficult times, becoming stronger, wiser, and happier as a result. There may be some who think general authorities rarely experience pain, suffering, or distress. If only they were true. While every man and woman on this stand today has experienced an abundant measure of joy, each has also drunk deeply from the cup of disappointment, sorrow, and loss. The Lord in His wisdom does not shield anyone from grief or sadness. For me, the Lord has opened the windows of heaven and showered blessings upon me and my family, beyond my ability to express. Yet like everyone else, there have been times in my life when it seemed that the heaviness of my heart might be greater than I could bear. During those times, I think back on those tender days when my youth, when great sorrows came at the end of losing a football game. How little I knew then what awaited me in later years. But whenever my steps led through seasons of sadness and sorrow, my mother's words often came back to me. Come what may, and love it. How can we love days that are filled with sorrow? We can't, at least not for the moment. I don't think my mother was suggesting that we suppress discouragement or deny the reality of pain. I don't think she was suggesting that we smother unpleasant truths beneath a cloak of pretended happiness. But I do believe that the way we react to adversity can be a major factor in happy and successful we can be. If we approach adversities wisely in our hardest times, can be our greatest growth, which in turn can lead towards times of greatest happiness. Over the years, I've learned a few things that have happened and helped me through times of testing and trial. I'd like to share with you a few of them. The first thing we can do is laugh. Have you ever seen an angry driver who, when someone else makes a mistake, reacts as though that person has insulted his honor, his family, his dog, and his ancestors, all the way back to Adam? Or have you an encounter with an overhanging cupboard door left open at the wrong place and the wrong time, which has been cursed, condemned, and avenged by a sore-headed victim? There is an antidote for times such as these. Learn to laugh. Remember loading up our children's station wagon and driving to Los Angeles. There were at least 9 of us in the car, and we would invariably get lost. Instead of getting angry, we laughed. Every time we made a wrong turn, we laughed harder. Getting lost was not an unusual occurrence for us. Once, while heading south to Cedar City, we took a wrong turn and didn't realize it until 2 hours later we saw welcome to Nevada signs. We didn't get angry. We laughed. And as a result, anger and resentment rarely resulted. Our laughter created cherished memories for us. Remember when our daughter went on a blind date, which we really didn't approve. She was all dressed up and waiting for her date to arrive when the doorbell rang. In walked a man who seemed a little old, but she tried to be polite. She introduced him to me and my wife and the other children. Then she put on her coat and went out the door. We watched as she got into the car, but the car didn't move. Eventually our daughter got out of the car, red-faced, and ran back into the house. The man she thought was her blind date had actually come to pick up another of our daughters who had agreed to be a babysitter for him and his wife. We all had a good laugh over that. In fact, we couldn't stop laughing. Later, when our daughter's real blind date showed up, I couldn't come out to meet him because I was still in the kitchen laughing. Now I realize that our daughter could have felt humiliated and embarrassed, but she laughed with us, and as a result, we still laugh about it today. The next time you're tempted to groan, you might try to laugh instead. It will extend your life and make the lives of all those around you more enjoyable. The second thing we can do is seek for the eternal. You may feel singled out when adversity enters your life. You shake your head and wonder, why me? But the dial on the wheel of sorrow eventually points to each of us.